Welcome to I Finally Get It. This week we have Donnie Ardoin, owner of PostNet of Lafayette. Joining us in studio as always, Dustin Webb, our producer. I'm your host, Jeff Martin. Let's get it.
When you're trying to figure this out, like especially like somebody like me that's never done this before, you're trying to figure out, okay, what is it that you need to do to be successful and to fulfill that need that you've created, that you want to meet. And we've done it, maybe by dumb luck. I'm not sure, but as I thought about it, I started thinking about what are the things that I do that draws people to me, that gets people to refer me. This past July, PostNet has an annual conference that we go to, and all of the franchisees come in and the owners, and we have trainings, awards, and they have keynote speakers. And they had a guy come in. His name is Sam Parker. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He wrote a book called 212, The Extra Degree. And the idea behind the title is that when you heat water at 211 degrees, it's scalding hot, really hot. But if you heat it that one extra degree to 212, it starts to boil, changes form, and you can power a train with it. So just that one little thing you do, that one little extra degree makes so much difference. And somebody like us, who we compete with chains like Office Depot and FedEx Office, we can't compete with them on a lot of levels as far as brand recognition and marketing.
Yeah, sure.
So we've got to do something, and it's referrals, right? And so I kind of realized that it's those little things that we do that make a difference. So maybe somebody sends me something to print, I might make sure it's a good quality file, it's high resolution. You have experience with that.
That's right.
Might make sure there's enough bleed on it, no misspellings, just those little touches. Because in your head, when you're first starting out, you're like, oh man, if I could get this one big customer, if I could get this one big piece of equipment, or this one big sale. I mean, this is what's going to make me, but a lot of times it's not that. It's focusing on those little things, and it just starts to build. Yeah. And it keeps people coming back. Yeah. So that was like, that has to be what I'm doing, right? You know?
And I will say, as a customer and as a friend, and I've seen you out in town, you are doing those one little extra things, right? But they all add up. I mean, right. What would you say your biggest thing you're doing to earn referrals? What are you doing?
I'm just being there. Like, when people always say, oh, well, thank you for the quick response. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why everybody should be doing that?
No.
I mean, and then they tell me, no, I asked for a quote 3 weeks ago on something and I'm still waiting. And it's like, man, I feel bad when I make people wait 3 hours. Like 3 weeks is insane to me. To me, that's the little things. It's just letting people know they're important.
Yeah.
Just, that, hey, even if it's just an order of business, a $20 order of business cards, it's like they may come back, or they may send somebody who has thousands of dollars. And that has happened. You do one little job for somebody and they know a friend who owns a business, and, oh, I had this great experience and now I've referred, you should send all your business there, and they do. And it results in thousands of dollars and a repeat customer that comes back, every month, every week. So it's that. I mean, it's just never underestimating.
I got a first light bulb moment, honestly. So
there'll be a lot.
So I'm hearing you, and what I'm hearing is every customer matters. Treat them, whether they're $20 clients or $200 clients. If you treat them well, they're going to go out and tell people, and you might get the $2,000 clients,
right? Or
the customers that work with you recurring for months and years. Customer service is dying.
For sure.
You go to the grocery stores and you basically have to check yourself out now. Nobody says thank you.
Oh, everybody complains about it. My philosophy is, if I do it better, then I should be doing it.
That's right. Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
It's so hard to find somebody who really wants to work and provide customer service.
Yep.
I provide my best customer service myself.
Well, and you do, and you've made it kind of a family affair.
Right.
So talk to me about bringing the whole family and involving everybody.
It's really just me and my wife right now. My sister's worked there for a while. My son has worked there for a while. We have times where it's just, we can handle it ourselves. And sometimes it's easier because now we both know our strengths. I I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to manual labor and things with my hands, like, folding things or mailing things or sorting things, or I'm not allowed to use the embroidery machine, just those little things. But when you put me in front of a computer, I got patience.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Because it doesn't argue back, it doesn't fight back.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it comes to that stuff, my wife is great. Dana's great at doing those little organization tasks that I'm not fantastic at. So if I had to do it, it would just take forever, and I would totally mess it up. If it was just me.
And you both seem to be really good at customer service and dealing one-to-one with the customers. Well, you're especially good at going out in town and being an ambassador for the store while you're being an ambassador for one Acadiana, which is our joint chamber of commerce. So what's it like going into other people's companies and doing ribbon cuttings and helping them?
Oh, it's neat. I mean, I like to talk. Once you start me talking, I mean, that's why I warned you. 30 minutes.
This is going to be an hour long.
Yeah, no kidding. That's not her thing for sure. So that's where I come in. Like I said, we each know our strengths. And mine is I don't always engage people, but I try to be welcoming, and approachable. And I feel like people just see your face enough. Finally, they just come up and like, okay, what do you do?
Yeah,
like, I'm tired of seeing you everywhere. I see you everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you do? And so that makes it easier. That just makes it easier to make that introduction.
Yeah, that's great. So what'd you do before PostNet?
I worked 20 years in the oil field, like most people around here.
Yeah.
I worked for Francis Drilling Fluids.
Yep.
It became FDF Energy Services and went through a whole thing. I worked for Halliburton for 2.5 years as well. So I got oil field life, the experience. I got the full experience. I was procurement. I was buying things.
Got it.
So I didn't have a lot of customer service, but I dealt with people who provided customer service, right? So I knew what I liked. So it made it easier for me to give what I liked to others. And in procurement, you do have some customer service. I should probably step back and say that, because everyone in that organization is your customer. Mm-hmm. So you're buying for everyone. So they come to you like you're the salesperson. Yep. So you have to provide some customer service there. And I think that's why I did so well there. I worked for FDF for 12 years, went to Halliburton for 2.5. FDF begged me to come back. I went back, then Halliburton wanted me to come back. So obviously I was doing something right and I made people happy. I might have drove them crazy because of that detail thing that I was talking about. Just focusing on those details. It drove people nuts in the moment. But then when you're gone and nobody else is paying attention to them, things start falling through the cracks. Yep. And then they're like, oh, okay, that's what that guy was doing. That's why he drove us nuts.
Well, and the procurement is a really specialized field. I mean, you go out and find things, but you have to save the company money too. Oh, yeah. And so that's pretty critical. So when you decided to get away from the oil field and you started looking at your next journey, was it always kind of a business opportunity and things you wanted to do on your own, or were you just in search? And how'd that search go?
So after 20 years, you start to get burned out a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Especially in the oil field, when it's up, it's down. When it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad. Yep. You come across things and you read in, I believe it's Forbes or one of those magazines. I'm not a big reader. The top franchises, and always at the top is UPS Store. Yep. Always in the top 5, if not 3, is the UPS Store. So that's kind of what I was interested in. And well, when COVID came around, I got furloughed. I was told to go and work part-time and collect unemployment part-time. And I'm just not a believer in unemployment unless I need it. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go find another job. I was lucky enough that I had a friend who knew the owner of Electronic Protection Systems, another small business, Brady Council, and he hired me to do inside sales. So I practiced my customer service. I did that for a year while kind of trying to figure out what we wanted to do. And another one of my guys from FDF that he had gotten laid off completely. He recommended that I look at franchises, and he put me in touch with a broker. And I mentioned all the things I've done, because of course they asked, what do you do? What have you done? What are you interested in? Have you ever looked at any franchises? And that's what I mentioned. Well, I always see the UPS Store. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. Boy, was I wrong. But it doesn't seem that hard. So I think we could do that. And it's something me and my wife could do, because she had gotten laid off the year before me, and she had found another part-time job, but she was kind of also looking. And so when I mentioned that to him, he came up with PostNet.
Got it.
And so because PostNet their closest competition is something like the UPS store. So that's kind of where we ended up there. And my wife wanted a storefront. There was a few other options on the table, but this is the one that had a storefront where we could go to, and we could separate our home life from work life.
And so that's a very smart decision. Yeah. What's Dana's background?
A nonprofit. She's worked for, as you probably know, one of your business partners was very familiar with her from the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yes, she was for 18 years, she worked at the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yep.
12 of those, I believe, she was the director of finance. And she had gotten laid off from there. They wanted somebody with an accounting degree. Everybody wants a degree nowadays, and experience doesn't always account for.
I don't know. That might be going the other way.
I hope so because
I feel it is.
Yeah, but that was kind of the reasoning why, and it turned out for the best because now she works for another nonprofit, Respirate Haiti, that takes care of children's needs in Haiti, and it's a whole thing. Definitely recommend everybody look them up because they're a great organization. But she worked for them for part-time. So she was working part-time while I was full-time at FDF. And she was kind of looking for something else to do on top of this. And so
I was a franchisor, and the tough thing for franchisors is getting the right people to run the system the way it's supposed to be run. Do you find difficulty staying within the framework of the franchisor system? Or is it because y'all do a lot of stuff at PostNet?
Yeah. PostNet's really lenient as far as that goes. Now, if I was struggling, they love us. I mean,
y'all are.
I don't think I'm doing as great as I would like to, but I mean, any business owner tells you they are, then they're not doing something right. Yeah. They love what we do. I mean, because I'm engaged in the franchise, and I participate in things and sit on committees, and I get involved and try to, because that's the only way that you can keep up is if you stay involved. And so they really like us. We're always in the top, at least 50% or better, sometimes 30%, top 30% of all the franchise. And there's 200 other PostNets around the country. So they really like us. And so they don't give us a whole lot of grief. If I were to stray and start offering something that didn't really fit into that custom print or shipping box, then they would probably give me some grief over it. But I mean, I have a regional director. He called me if he needs something. Otherwise, they don't get involved in our day-to-day.
Mess with you.
No. So, I mean, if I, like I said, if I was struggling, I think they would be more involved and they would critique a little more. Yeah. But since we're not, they're not.
I'll tell you. So as a franchisor, I'm going back to my experience. You said something there is it's critical that you get involved and you stay engaged in the community, right? Whatever the system is. And I can tell you firsthand, for anybody that I've ever worked with that's a franchisee, there are coaching associations, for example. If you don't stay engaged with the organization, next thing you know, you're going to stop looking at the emails they send. You stop getting the guidance and advice. So that's a really important point to be involved. And I would say you're involved as much in PostNet or much in the community as you are in the other things. You're like an engaging type person. Where'd that come from?
I'll tell you exactly where it came from. I'm ADHD poster child. And so if I tune something, I'm not involved in something, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. It's kind of like I was that kid in school at, when the teachers start talking, I raise my hand, or there's some kind of thing committee going on, a meeting, or I'm always the one that's talking, because if I just sit there and I don't engage, then I disengage completely. I can't sit there and just listen. I have to be involved. And it's not because, pay attention, I need attention. No, it's just because I can't pay attention unless I'm involved. Yeah. And that's just my personality. I know that.
Are you kind of curious by nature too, though, or you just know that you have to stay engaged?
No, I think it's more just staying. I'd just love to say, I'd love to learn. And no, it's really just, I have to be involved, and I want to be involved, but I know that I'll start to drift away. And so I've got to maybe repeat things, or just, I need to ask about that because I'm listening and I heard that and I want to ask about it. Yeah. And so let me ask about this. And so sometimes it's annoying. Like people just stop asking all the questions. But I think overall people appreciate, they know you're listening if you're engaged.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a great point. That's a great point.
That, like I said, I would love to think it's something deeper, but it really isn't.
So you and Dana both left careers after long-term jobs, and you found PostNet. And so what was it like when you first started out? What I'm getting at is, how hard was it to start this franchise here in Lafayette and get it going from 0 to 100 miles an hour?
Well, I mean, I met you early on, so we had discussions, and you knew where we were.
Yeah.
Of course, as a former franchisor, you always sell, right? Oh, this is going to be great, and this is how much you can make, and so every other franchisor does that, and so you don't really know until you get into it. And it was just hard because PostNet is not a recognized brand. I'm the only one in Louisiana still.
Wow.
There was one when we first opened, but she closed within a year of us opening. And she had been around for 15 years, but she retired and closed her store. She was in Prairieville.
Got it.
And so there's not a lot of brand recognition with PostNet. People don't know what PostNet does or anything, and the name doesn't really help us at all, which I've had many a discussion with our marketing committee. Like, people don't know what PostNet is. But to your point of being involved, when I came in, that was one of the first things I told them. I'm like, okay, I'm in Louisiana. Nobody knows who PostNet is. We need to focus more on national marketing campaigns for people like me. You want people to open PostNets. Well, they're not going to open up something they don't even know.
Yeah, correct.
So I'm here. I'm struggling to get people to know what we do.
And you're competing with the UPS store and FedEx office
and Office Depot and everything.
Yeah,
and I was like, people just don't know what we do. There's nothing nationally that tells them. I can turn on the TV and see UPS store commercials all the time, but there's no PostNet. And I really felt like our marketing VP for PostNet, she had just started, and I thought she was really annoyed with me. So I went to our first conference and I saw her and said, yeah, I'm that guy that's always sending in these comments and suggestions. She said, no, that's great. Literally the next year they transitioned from, they used to allow you so much money, you go and you do local marketing. That's it.
Sure.
That little bit of money doesn't go far for somebody like me. So now what they do is they pool all of their money into one, and they do one large national marketing campaign for everyone. And it helps us because now you can see our commercials in certain places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things, just building that recognition. And so, like I said, those little things, I couldn't do the big thing. I had to do those little things, and it was very slow. It just trickled in slowly, word of mouth. And but yeah, that brand recognition was the hard part.
Yeah.
That was,
and you're right. You can control the small things. And it's those big ones that are the franchisor's responsibilities, but you got in their ear, and it's obviously working.
Yeah, I'm on the marketing committee. I sit on the marketing committee now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but because of that, and I really thought I was like, oh, I'm going to piss some people off right out the gate. Here I come. But no, I mean, God bless them. She took it to heart, and like I said, they started focusing more on national campaigning.
Yeah.
And our commercial, they came and actually every year they did 2 years in a row. They did the same campaign, which is first name basis, where it's focused on customer service. It's focused on knowing your customer by first name, like we're friends. Yep. And so they encourage franchisees to send in customers that you wanted to
like highlight a profile or whatever. Yep.
And so I sent in Respire Haiti and Megan Boudreau, who's from Lafayette, and the things that they do. And of course, they selected them. And so they came earlier this year and they filmed commercials. Now, if you follow us on Facebook, or you go on YouTube, or if you go on the website even, you'll see those commercials and those ads, and they feature Respire Haiti. There was 2 other centers that had their customers featured. And then they also had some other customers featured to a lesser extent. We had also referred Anna Bourgeois with Vaulted Security, also a local company, and you'll see her face and her story on some of the ads.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, but that's seen across the country.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really neat. And so
you're not only bringing those eyeballs to you, but you're bringing them to Louisiana. That's huge.
And that was Respire Haiti. So their network is across the country, if not across, globally. And so they have board members that sit in different states. And so to something like their store to be seen across the country almost benefits them more than me.
For sure. Absolutely.
And so
absolutely.
it was great that, I can just point to that and say, yeah, that's our customer,
I love that.
And
I'll make sure I mention them in the show notes.
Like I said, you can probably find links to the ad. You can go on our Facebook, and literally last week, there was ads featuring them. And
yeah. Are you doing anything now as a business owner that you didn't really think about? Like, all right, I'm going to go and I'm going to find a franchise that I like, that I match well. And now like, cause you're doing social media, you're doing Facebook. I literally just pulled you up on Instagram and saw you were ambassador of the month at some point.
Like 3 times.
Is that right?
Yeah. Coincidentally enough, this last time was when my renewal was due. So they figured this guy's gonna renew if we make him ambassador of the month.
That's hilarious.
I love him. One Acadiana. They're great. But no, anything I do differently, work a lot more, sleep a lot less, but stress a lot more.
Is it like the marketing, the getting involved? Because as a procurement officer, you're in an office, right? Now you're out and about, but what other things that are different being a business owner than it was from being an employee?
Just having to wear all the hats, it's just
absolutely.
It's so many different things, and I never did this before. I had no idea. I didn't do any of this before. Yeah. Besides buying things, I could beat up a vendor all day long. That I can do. But as far as I understood. I have a minor computer science degree, an associate degree, which is dated older than me. I think I had to teach myself, graphic design and how to run printing equipment and set up things, and so a whole bunch of stuff that I'd never done before, and it's always something, man. It's just, you always got to learn how to do something else. And
another light bulb. Oh, I get it. I finally get it. Here at Company Growth Academy, we've begun teaching 20-minute growth strategies. They're free, they're fast, and they're full of information to help you grow your company. For more information and to sign up for our advanced notification list, just go to 20togrow.com, 20togrow.com. Let's get it. You have to teach yourself how to do things, especially early on.
You have to be open to learn it too, because that's where a lot of these franchise, I've seen, just in my short time, I've seen people open a PostNet and it not work out because they're not willing to do, well, I just want to be, and it's not a absentee franchise by any means.
No, and none of them are really.
There are some you can.
But you have to get to that point.
Right.
Right. And right now you're learning a little bit of everything. At some point, you're going to have to let go of some of that and let other people do it. And then, get your head out looking for other opportunities or bigger deals. But there are some, but very few. Very few. What I would love to see, hello, PostNet National, is maybe you're have a master franchise agreement for Louisiana. You ever thought about that?
The struggle right now is to find somebody who, and every business owner will tell you that. I watched your one with Old Time Grocery. It's it's finding people that will do it the way you do it. And you have to try. You have to be able to. That's where I need to be.
Yeah.
And you and I discussed about 3 years being that goal of opening a new one. We're 3 years and we ain't there yet. I don't feel like it just because I can't find. I don't know that I'll find it. That's just gonna have to be me getting comfortable to let go. It's kind of like your baby. Your first child, you hold them like a hand grenade. Yep. But by the third one, you're like, take them,
Well, look, you're doing the things you need to do to run a profitable venture. Your focus has been on engagement and activity in the community. It to me, finding the right people to come in and, do what you do and do it the way you want to do it, it's you have to focus on that mission. So anyway, I think we need to talk about it again because I would love to see you and I guarantee you PostNet would love to see somebody like you.
Oh, they ask me every year.
Absolutely.
Right. There are guys that I can tell you in Houston, Mr. Greg Howard, he owns 5 of them at this point. Mm-hmm. But he knows how to do it. I mean, when I sit down and talk to him, I feel like my brain's gonna explode because he's just got it figured out. He's got it down to science, and I'm like, I can't follow you. I can't keep up with it.
Trust me, your
train of thought. It's like he's just literally rattling off everything, and he's on the marketing committee with me, and like everything, he's the most engaged. He's like, he's got ideas, and it's like, all right, man.
I keep talking to that guy, man.
He's great. But but he's got people. I mean, he's found those people.
Exactly. And I promise if you focus on that, they're out there. But, I hear from my clients every day, I can't find good people and I can't find good people that want to work. It's a challenge.
And we're still at that point to where I don't know that our income can fit to pay that person.
Yeah, sure.
And that's a matter of fairness. I mean, I am not going to burden someone with a huge thing because it's a pretty big undertaking to manage it. It seems like it'd be easy. Like I said, I was totally wrong.
No, there's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot that goes into it, and especially to do it the way I want it done, like to be at the level for us to be able to compete. I want to be able to pay that person fairly, and and that's I feel like we need to get a little closer there too.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not just the person, there are other things at play, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I love that you're saying you want to be fair to that person too.
Absolutely.
When you do find them, and you have to be able to afford
because you want them to be invested.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So who has been your biggest inspiration in business?
I really don't know. I mean, I just take bits and pieces from everybody, and I ask questions, of course, and I can't point to one specific thing. I mean, I really can't. Cool. I mean, it's sad that I can't, but I feel bad. No. I feel like there should be somebody, but like I said, a lot of stuff I just had to teach myself and just watch and learn,
Yeah. Well, there's a lesson there too. There's a lesson there. You have to keep your head up, observe, look for what's going on, and learn from every situation.
Yeah. I mean, I can name a bunch of people that really like, oh, well, they taught me this or they taught me that. When I first even thought about this, Brady Council, who owns EPS, I mean, I told him, I'm like, I only worked for him for a year, but I'm like, you really, you're the business owner I'd like to be,
That's huge.
Your employees like you, you've got a great place. He doesn't have a whole lot of turnover. He has some, but he's got people that have been there for a long, long time. And they all like each other. And I told him, I said, it's the best places I work because everybody likes each other here. It's very odd. In the oil field, it's, I mean, there's a group, the people who work hard, they're a family. But then, you constantly hiring people and there's people that come in and badmouth the company. And that just didn't happen with him. And it was like,
it's pretty cool.
I told him, I'm like, you really made me think that maybe I could do this.
That is great.
But but it's little things. He didn't teach me, okay, go run your company like this. But I watched him. I mean, he's the owner of the company, but he was there early every morning and he was involved in everything. And, he had people constantly knocking on his door. And I was like, man, that dude does a lot. You think you just sit back and collect a check? No, that's not it at all.
No, you can't. You have to work it, and they'll come. If there's a guy out there who's been in a career for, let's say, 20 years, and he really needs to make a change, and he's looking at a business, what would you tell them to look for? Because you obviously chose well. What would you tell them to do?
Just find something I don't want to say you like to do, but that you feel like you can do. I figured I would like to do this, but it's like I told everybody when I started, I put my retirement to this. This is my retirement. This is it. I could have waited 20 more years to retire, or I can just take my retirement and do something I want to do. It's just something I wanted to do. And I wanted to try it. It's not for everybody.
No.
And so I would have a hard time telling somebody, yeah, this is for you. This is a good idea for you because it's not for everyone.
Yeah, sure.
And that I learned.
Bet on yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I said, my retirement went to this. I mean, everything that I worked in the oil field for, here it is. It would be hard for me to tell somebody because they know better than I do.
Yeah.
I would just make sure you're prepared for what's to come. It's not what you think it is. A lot of people have this idea. As a small business, I get a lot of customers who come in just starting their business and they think, oh, I'm going to have these fancy cards and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to make these nice shirts. And that's just a small part of it. I mean, it's not as rewarding as you think it is out of the gate.
Not in the early days, that's for sure.
No, it's not. It's a lot of work, man. You don't just sit back and collect a check. You've got to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. And if you're not ready for that, then you're not ready. Don't even bother.
Yeah. That's good advice. It really is.
I mean, because I'm sure there are companies that come out right out the gate and then just blow it up and make it look easy, but not many. All of those different things that you said, things you finally get.
Yeah.
The first one that popped in my first always does is your competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
You worry about when you first start out, I got to compete with this and I got to compete with that. But you quickly learn that sometimes your competition is your best customer. Like I can tell you my best customer, somebody I was afraid I would have to compete with.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it is. It's great. I mean, because there are things that they do well and there are things that we do well.
Yeah, sure.
And the people that I used as well, my biggest customer is someone that I used to use in procurement to do some of the things we do, some of the things that we do.
Yeah, I understand.
But they don't do a lot of the small things like business cards and brochures and all that small print.
Correct.
So they have somebody locally, they can pick up the phone and they can discuss the details of something.
Yeah.
There are, just like us, we have national distributors and wholesalers that will do print, but they can't just pick up the phone and discuss with the person who's going to actually be running it and actually be printing it. They can't discuss with them the details of that project. They can't say, oh, they want it like this or like that. They literally just submit an order and how it comes out is how they always do it. They can't get exactly what that customer wants. Yeah. So they make their customer happy. So I was really kind of worried, I'm going to have to compete with these people or that people,
Yeah.
But it's turned out that I can actually wholesale to them and they like coming to me, even if they pay a little more.
Yep.
Because they can make their customer happy. So that was a huge thing for me. I'm still surprised every day, that the people I thought, and it's local, obviously it's local companies like me.
Yeah.
I mean, Office Depot's not coming to me or FedEx office, but it's local companies, print companies and sign companies. They do come to me for small stuff.
And then you can send them to them for bigger things.
Yeah, so, and I do.
Yeah, that's great.
When we get things and I need, we use each other. So
yeah, I love that.
That's really, that was very surprising. I didn't figure that would make great discussion though, but that's one thing that I learned very quickly. And I mean, if I hadn't embraced that, that I wouldn't probably be here. So
that's outstanding.
Yeah,
that's great. So I see you out in town. I see you at these ribbon cuttings. You were at my ribbon cutting, and you deal with a ton of customers every day.
Oh yeah.
How do you try to leave people different and better just because they engaged with you?
I just like we talked about, just make them feel important, and just let them know that, I want them to get what they want. And not everybody's a graphic designer. Yeah. They send in things that are just, if you go to some of these big chains or if you do it online, whatever you send them is what they're going to print.
Yep.
I try to take the time to make sure and I'm sure I can be annoying at times, like, no, give me better. I want to make sure it looks good for you. But that's part of making them feel like they're important. Their business matters. Because I know that if their business succeeds, they're going to keep coming back to me.
No doubt about it. Yep.
That's a lot to do with it. And just being approachable, and just being there. I mean, like I told you, when I get all the time, it took 3 weeks to get a quote, or I put in an order and it's, been 3 weeks and I haven't gotten it and I haven't heard anything and just no follow-up, and they just don't feel important. They just feel like they're just a number.
Yeah.
And they can put a face to the name. And the kind of disappointing thing, and we've talked about with like one of Acadiana, is there's not enough business owners in there. It's a lot of salespeople, and salespeople that can't sell to salespeople. So that's right. I think it's great for those salespeople that, hey, there's an actual business owner that's involved. And there are other business owners involved. They go to these ribbon cuttings and everything, but it's not just a bunch of salespeople. It's actually another business owner. And so, being somewhat relatable helps a lot too.
Thanks for tuning in to I Finally Get It. For more information on Donnie and what he's got going on, please visit our show notes. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hey, at Company Growth Academy, we've started doing 20-minute teachings. These are 20-minute growth strategies, and you can sign up to just be on the advanced notification list. Just go to 20togrow.com, 20togrow.com. If you're an entrepreneur or business owner and you have a light bulb moment that you'd like to share, please reach out to me at jeff@ifinallygetit.com.